What's going on, everyone? This is Ryan, health fitness professional for the Cardinal Health site in Mansfield, Massachusetts. Today we're going to be using a dumbbell for each of our exercises for today. There's going to be 5 exercises in total. Each are going to be about a minute long. And for dumbbells, I'm going to be using a single 5-pound dumbbell for everything I have for today. Real quick about the dumbbells, if it gets to be too challenging at any point for any of these exercises, I simply want you to move the dumbbell to the side and do the exercise with body weight motions. All exercises today will be on the floor, so make sure you have plenty of room for lying down. Set up a yoga mat if you'd like to, and for about 1 to 2 minutes I want you to do some type of warm-up, whether that's jogging on your treadmill or high knees, anything just to get the blood flowing, especially for your core. And after that 1 to 2 minutes, I'll see you for the first exercise. First runner-up for this workout is Russian twist. For this, I want you to grab the dumbbell with both hands, one hand in each of the knobs of the dumbbell. Leaning back as much as you can, a slight round of the back is fine. Keep your eyes on the dumbbell as you move side to side with your dumbbell, doing your best to get that dumbbell as close to the hips as you twist to the side. For the first half of the Russian twist, you'll notice that my heels are on the floor. This makes it a little bit easier for me to move side to side. For those of you looking to increase the intensity, you want to lift your heels off the floor. This is going to force you to focus more on balance as you move side to side. Feel free to cross your legs like I am. Whenever I have to do Russian twist with my heels off the floor, I prefer to cross my legs. This will help prevent the legs from spreading out, making it even more challenging than it needs to be for me to focus on balance. Finishing up Russian twists in 3, 2, 1. Relax, and we'll move on to the next exercise. Next up is what's known as a half get-up. Take the dumbbell in one hand and raise that arm as straight as you can all the way to the ceiling as you lift yourself up from the floor, straightening out your back as best as you can and lowering yourself back down to the floor. Rest your head on the floor before you move on to the next rep. Notice here I have both feet firmly planted on the floor and I have my free hand hovering just over the floor as I lift myself up and down. You'll want to do your best to do the same. After the first 30 seconds, you'll want to switch hands with the dumbbell. Continuing with your reps after you switch sides can be a little challenging for some at first, so if you feel like you need to do the first few reps without the weight, you can do that as well. Be sure to keep your eye on your hand or the dumbbell as you lift yourself from the floor. Finish up in 3, 2, 1. Rest yourself and the dumbbell on the floor, and we'll move on to the next exercise. That exercise being plank and row. For this, obviously you'll want to plank. Widen your legs nice and straight. I do have my mat, and I want my legs to be a little bit wider than the width of my mat. Keep your shoulders square as you lift the dumbbell from the floor. Notice as I lift my arm from the floor, I'm bringing my elbow up as high as I can past my back. I find the most challenging part of this exercise is keeping my hips square as well. So doing my best to not twist at the hip. Now that we've finished 30 seconds on one side, we'll want to switch arms with the dumbbell. Again, the transition from one side to the other can be very challenging for some, so you may want to do the first few reps with body weight alone and then grab the dumbbell for the remaining reps. Find a pace that works best for you. You'll notice that my pace has me doing 13 reps on both sides. Finishing up in 3, 2, 1. Rest your arms, your knees, and we'll move on to the next exercise. Next up is what I like to call infinities. Sometimes I call them figure eights because that's the motion we'll be doing with the dumbbell. To do this, you want to lift your leg from the floor and transition the dumbbell from one hand to the other underneath that lifted leg. Do the same motion with your hands as you alternate legs. Keep your eyes on the dumbbell during this exercise. For the first half of this exercise, you'll notice I have at least one heel on the floor as I lift the other leg while I do my transition from one hand to the other. To make this more challenging, I'm going to prevent both my heels from ever touching the floor in the second half of this workout. I've also picked up the pace during this second half to make it even more challenging for myself. Don't forget, you want to lean back as much as you can during this time, whether you're keeping one heel on the floor or you're preventing both heels from ever touching the floor. And we'll finish up in 3, 2, 1. Rest your legs, rest your back, and we'll move on to our final exercise for this video. The last workout I have for this video is what's called an overhead crunch. You'll want both hands on the dumbbell. I like to grab either end of the dumbbell with each hand. Keep your chin close to your chest as you perform this motion. I like to lift my head and my back off the floor while bringing my dumbbell just over the knee. Once I do that, that's my cue to come back down onto the floor, resting my head for a quick second before I move on to the next rep. Notice that my feet are firmly planted on the floor, but to make this exercise even more challenging, I'm going to have my feet off the floor for the second half of this exercise. Now that I have my feet high off the floor, what I want to do is reach for my toes with the dumbbell, lifting myself up as high as I can, and again, resting my head on the floor before I move on to the next repetition. With my feet off the floor, it will be more challenging for me to lift myself off the floor, but so long as I have my head and my upper back off the floor, that will count as one full repetition. So that's it for today's workout. Thank you for joining me. As usual, yes, this is only one round, lasts about 5 minutes. If you want to do a second or third round, you're more than welcome to do so. Don't forget, even though we're using dumbbells for all of the exercises today, if it gets too challenging at any point, you can always put the dumbbell to the side and do the exercise with no weights at all. As always, be sure to check out other playlists we have for you on our YouTube page, such as kettlebells, workout of the week, dumbbells, TRX is still getting new exercises by me. You can also check out the website for the fitness center if you want to see other services we are providing for everyone while they're still working from home. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you in the next workout.